Hello, BookTube.
Hello, BookTube.
It's a special Mr. and Mrs. Claus mail haul. I got a few books, and I thought as long as Deb was here, she was puppy sitting for me, that we'd go through them together. If that's all right with you,
It
Mr.
is.
Claus. I stopped by when I was done with the Christian Science Bar. I stopped by Barnes & Noble.
Did you?
Which was hopping with customers. It was full of people. I remembered all the times that we had so much fun that we had when the Christmas season would kick into high gear and there would be crowds of customers who needed book recommendations. They needed help. They needed a friendly voice in the middle of a day of heartless shopping. And we were always that voice. We were sort of the good cop and bad cop of the Christmas season. But anyway, this first one sort of gives away the game because it has the title of the book on the cover. But I wanted to show you this because I already saw this. This is how they're wrapping it. They're wrapping it in mysterious brown paper to enhance the allure. But this is a big thing. The publisher's putting a lot of money behind this for the new season. This comes out in March, and it is called Orphan Monster Spy. That's what it's going to look like. We can kill two birds with one stone. I can show you the new book and block Deb's face. She has Frida here as well. So you've got three for the price of one. This is Viking is just pouring tons of money into this. This is a huge thing, and it's called Orphan Monster Spy. And when I read you the description, you're going to realize what I realized as soon as I saw it, which is that in some boardroom somewhere at Viking, someone had to physically stop someone else from putting girl in the title of this book. They had to physically stop that from happening. I'm amazed this isn't Orphan Monster Spy Girl. I'm amazed that it isn't. Because, well, you'll see what I mean. Let's see here. It's a debut novel, and it's by Matt Killeen, and you gotta feel happy for him. Not only did Viking take his debut novel, which is no small thing right there, not to have to work your way up from, the smaller presses, but that they would put such an amount. It's been optioned in 1 million countries. The film rights have already been bought. The guy's independently wealthy now, after who knows how many years of slaving away on his book. So you have to be happy for him, even if the book turns out to be a piece of poop. But let's see here. It's a riveting story of a young woman orphaned in 1939, a chilling reminder of the potent dangers of authoritarianism, nationalism, and prejudice that is devastatingly relevant to our world today. And that part is in boldface, just in case the book editor doesn't get it. And it's after her mother is shot at a checkpoint, 15-year-old Sarah meets a mysterious man with an ambiguous accent, a suspiciously bare apartment, and a lockbox full of weapons. He's part of the secret resistance against the Third Reich, and he needs Sarah to hide in plain sight at the school for the daughters of top Nazi brass, posing as one of them. If she can befriend the daughter of a key scientist and get invited to her house, she might be able to steal the blueprints to a bomb that could destroy the cities of Western Europe. And it's, there's a thing here. What is the tagline? Yeah, here it is. The Nazis see just a little girl, but she is their worst nightmare. And that's, I think, what it's going to look like. Bit of a stretch of the novel.
What audience are they aiming it at?
Well, exactly. I would think that this is a YA book, and that if I'm right about that, I haven't read it yet. And YA, as we've covered on this channel before, is all about tone, right? It's not about the age of the protagonist. I wouldn't ever say that To Kill a Mockingbird was a YA novel, for instance. It's all going to be about tone and whether or not this girl is a Mary Sue who saves the world. This sort of stuff, and also if the brother of one of the families in the Nazi families is really hot, that sort of thing. If that sort of crap happens in the book, then it's going to be further confirmation of a thing that I have bellyached about on this channel before, which is the slow increep of YA novels flying under false colors with major adult presses. And it's not that I am going to encounter this thing, open it up and say, what the? This was marketed as an adult novel, but it's a YA novel. No, it's not that. I'm a big boy. I can handle mismarketing. It's that sort of thing over time dumbs down the whole market. so that eventually, 20 years from now, no adult literary fiction publisher expects anything otherwise than a love triangle and a Mary Sue, saving the world type thing. When that's not what adult fiction is like. But anyway, it's a big deal. So I'm sure that we'll be talking about it again. It comes out in March. So that's the first one. And then we'll move on. Oh, Frida's just so calmly, meditatively chewing on my guest. Oh, okay. This is a novel by Alison Pearson, the author of I Don't Know How She Does It, that was everywhere. That was sold like stacks of it. And this is How Hard Can It Be?
That is the book it made me think of when I saw the cover.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the same thing. I never read the other one, so. I read it. And I don't even want to call it chick lit. Because I've read chick lit that was really good. Chick lit that's about smart, snappy, articulate women. And it just so happens to be about their dating life. And it just so happens to be loaded with contemporary references and zingers and one-liners, but enormously fun to read. But there's another kind of chick lit, I'm sure you've noticed it, a kind of chick lit where the female characters aren't just young and unsatisfied with their jobs, they're kind of schlubs. Have you noticed that, or is that maybe that's just me? Maybe it's just that I've noticed a few books like that, where the female character ends up in that position quite often.
Steve, all women end up in that position quite often.
I don't want to be hashtagged again, if you don't mind. I'm not saying that they can't be good. It's just that this kind of,
Let me see what this one's about.
You really ought to maybe take that under your wing and read it yourself.
Maybe I will. It says it's a sequel.
Oh, it's a sequel to I Don't Know How She Does It. Oh,
yeah, that's what it says.
Deb could take that book. It's due in the spring. It's due in June. It's due in the summer. She could take that book, read it, and then never review it.
I could do that.
She needs perhaps a little booktube motivation on getting back into reviewing books. Here's the next one. Oh, okay. I requested this because it sounded really good. This is called Live, Work, 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 Die. And it's Corey Payne. I don't think his name is a pseudonym is just perfect for his subject. But he delved into the culture of Silicon Valley to see what this weird place was really like and titled his book Live, Work, 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 Die. And you've got the various emoticons, the happy face, the money face, the zombie face, the sad face, and the skull. So it struck me as probably really enjoyable. This is it comes out in April. Silicon Valley is as much a place in the American imagination as it is a physical location in California, and that's true, isn't it? There are people all over the world who know nothing about America. You couldn't, if you asked them, is the Grand Canyon located in America? They'd say, I don't really know. But you talk to them about Hollywood and Silicon Valley, they know instantly. Yeah, it's that. Not only is it located in America, but that is America. And yet, you and I didn't manage to hack it in either place.
No, we didn't. The talkies came along.
They ruined us. And then Deb and I tried to break into Silicon Valley with a kind of email where you open a new email to write it, and it automatically just natters on and on and on. And then nobody was interested in that either. I guess the point of it is brevity. But this is all about that, and I'm really hoping that I can sell a review of this. Silicon Valley is known all over the world and is of interest to everybody. So I would like to. I can review it anyway. But once you get into the habit of selling your work for money, I admit there's a little bit of an extra zest to being able to do that. The work is exactly the same. I've had so many people tell me, I read your 1,000 word reviews that you do for money, and I read your 1,000 reviews that you do for free, and they read exactly the same. And I guess that's a good thing. I think I would prefer that. I would hate to think that I was giving a paying venue more work. I would hate to think that I have an A game at all. That's always bothered me. Having an A game means you have a B and a C game.
Mm-hmm.
It means you can intentionally stop or down the quality of what you do. And I don't think I do that. The most massaging that I will do is if I write for a venue that prefers a positive attitude, like the Christian Science Monitor, then I can do that without being dishonest. I can do that. Like I just wrote a review of that new book about a new biography of Enrico Fermi, who's one of the lead scientists on the Manhattan Project, and the author in the book tries to absolve him of moral responsibility for the atom bomb. And I was a largely positive review. It's a very entertaining book, but I didn't let that go. I made sure to include a paragraph in which I say, this isn't theoretical nuclear physics experiments being done in the late 20s and early 30s. If you're working in a secret government installation in America in 1944, then you know exactly what you're building. You're not doing bloodless research anymore. And it isn't good enough if you're Szilard or Fermi or whoever. It's not good enough for you to wait until after cities in Japan have been leveled and a whole generation irradiated to write a letter to the president saying we really don't agree with these things as weapons. That's not good enough. Morally speaking, you're culpable if you stay on the job in Los Alamos or at the Manhattan Project. Why? Because not only do you know what work you're doing, but you also know that you are irreplaceable. In other words, not the same rationale as Nazi soldiers, for instance, who said, well, if I object and quit, there are 10 more behind me that'll take my place. All I'm doing is guarding a prison. What's the point? My family needs to eat. I need these wages, and it wouldn't do any good for me to quit because, somebody else would take my place tomorrow. Now, the people at the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos knew they were irreplaceable. They knew that they were the best nuclear physicists in the world, and that if they disagreed, if they stopped doing it, it couldn't be done. So, I'm not saying that they should have stopped. There was a war on, and the thing they were fighting against was unmitigatedly evil. But the moral responsibility still comes to them. It doesn't go anywhere else. Sorry, Deb.
I know, you're working yourself up.
Here's the last book. You people are probably tired of listening to Deb just talk her head off. Oh! What's a Penguin Classic?
It is.
And not only is it a Penguin Classic, it's a beauty, yes. It's, I think this is the first time. This is Frankenstein. You all know I love Frankenstein. And this is the 1818 text, which I think this might be the first time the Penguin's ever done that.
So how might it differ?
Oh, it differs a lot. Because Mary Shelley wrote the 1818 text is the text that she wrote at white heat in almost no time at all as a result of the famous meeting with Byron and Shelley and Polidori where they all decided to tell each other ghost stories. Mm-hmm. And this was her story.
Okay.
And it flowed out of her at just white heat. And she sent it to her publisher and they took it and it was an immediate bestseller. And the whole world was astonished that this young girl could write a book like this. And Byron was asked many times by his publisher and many other people, is it possible that Percy Bysshe Shelley helped her? Or that maybe you helped her? And he said, no, she did it all herself. And not only that, but she was incredibly young. She was a year younger than you all think she is. You think that she was the age she is now when she wrote it, but she was not yet 17. That's astonishing. But so it was a runaway hit, and it made her. Mm-hmm. It made her put her on the scene, and has stayed ever since. It is an immortal of classic of literature, which is amazing to think of such a thing happening under such circumstances. But what's all right? Oh, yeah. Matt Killeen has big shoes to fill. I know. There you go. 2 debuts. Are you going to be so lucky? Are you going to win 22-15? Am I going to be talking about you with Deb? We'll still be here. But later on, years later,
right.
She heavily revised the book.
Oh, really?
And I don't like that. I hate it when authors do that. Henry James used to do the same thing. That drives me nuts. Once you do it, it's done. If you don't like it, fine. You're just another reader. Once it's out in the world, you're a member of the audience. I can't stand it when J.K. Rowling goes on social media and says, "Oh yeah, Dumbledore's gay." No, he's not. Not if I don't say he is. You'll have no more say about this book than I do. Once you're done with it, you have no more say about it than I do. If you wanted him to be gay, you should have made him gay in the book. Or well, she has said a million of them, but plenty of other authors have too. Plenty of other authors. There was a science fiction author who had a character who went through, I think, 3 books. He was the towering anti-hero. Really, I'm trying to remember the name of the series. But like 25 years after the series was over, the author said at a convention, "Oh yeah, he was black." If I don't say he was, I can say that he wasn't, you can say that he was. You don't have any more authority over the text than I do. Once it's done, once it's out in the world, it belongs to everybody. That drives me crazy. And Mary Shelley did it herself. Henry James did it. Mary Shelley did it. She went back to her classic and heavily rewrote it. Lots and lots of additions, lots of raw stuff taken out. The original text is incredibly political. It's incredibly engaged with the schools of thought of its day. And by the time she went back and rewrote it, she was this grand lady of letters who absolutely did not want to think that her immortality would rest forever on this book, but it does. Who's ever read anything else by Mary Shelley? I love Frankenstein to distraction. I don't think I've ever read another word she's written. Anyway, I'm just ranting. I should say something. If I were theoretically to stop talking.
I would say that little Frida is napping. She's very sweet.
She is. She's napping right
Yep.
next to Deb.
Yep.
And you say you had a good day with her while I was away.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart today.
She lost a little tooth. She's
She played.
teething.
You should have seen her. I brought an empty water bottle, and she chased it all around the floor
Like it was alive?
for like an hour.
She probably thought it was alive.
And it rolled under a bookshelf, and she got very upset, and I had to get up and get it for her. She's a little sweetie. She's a sweetie today.
Oh.
No.
Oh. So I don't know if you can see her. She's napping next to Deb. There you go. She's a good girl. And it's a huge load off my mind. Because I was trying to do commercial dog sitters where you find somebody and you go by their star rating and you bring them in here. And I was either getting a long list of sorry I'm not available, I work a 9-to-5 job, etc., 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 and a couple of others. Oh my God, right off the turnip chart. I was amazed that they didn't email back and say, is bourbon okay? And the upstairs neighbors that tried and then just fell off the map, and a couple of other people that tried and then fell off the map. I just, as luck would have it, I had the perfect person come over here, and so that I didn't have to think about it. I got to go to the monitor and play with the books. But anyway, that's our Mr. and Mrs. Claus mail haul. We have Orphan Monster Spy Girl. We have How Hard Can It Be for the girl? That's essentially what it is. And live, work, die, about the culture of Silicon Valley. I have a reviewer in mind for this. He has no idea, but I'm going to draft him. And then a Penguin classic of the 1818 text of Frankenstein. How wonderful. And this probably has all sorts of critical stuff. It's oh, look at that. It's in time for the bicentennial of its first publication. Good Lord.
Oh, that's right.
Does 1818 seem that long ago to you? Yeah, this has a new introduction, new notes. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right, well, that's the Penguin Classic would have been the highlight anyway. But there you go. So we're going to go, but I will see you soon. So you want to say goodbye to the...
I do. I want to say goodbye to the lovely people.
I will put a link in the description down below to Deb's new Twitter.
And I posted on my Twitter
She posted on her Twitter today. She was obviously drunk when she did it, because it was a tweet in which she said that her reading goals for 2018 consisted of 80 books.
Well, it was actually 100 books, but it was too long for the tweet. It wouldn't let me post it.
80 books is too long for this recognizable reality. I wanted to respond by saying goal number 1 should be staying awake for longer than 40 minutes at any one time, but I didn't, because I don't want to be mean.
You just, a year from now, I'll come over, we'll check back, and you will eat some humble pie.
You can't possibly think you're going to read 80 books in 2018. You can't possibly think. You could easily do it, but you won't. You won't. You have a library copy of The Power that's sitting on that table. Your bookmark is exactly 4 pages away from where it was the last time you were here.
It is not. Oh, he is lying.
Maybe she's just reading slow because it's such an awful book.
the bookmark is actually marking where I started reading today, and it's open to where I was when
You know what you ought to
came
have?
home.
You ought to get a package of those little multicolored tabs and put a tab in every place where you fall asleep. She's almost a wicked piss.
A year from now, folks. Come back a year from now. Mark it on your calendar.
Or you could subscribe to her Twitter
Oh, you could do that
and
too.
encourage her throughout the year. But anyway.
And I'll post. I'll post as I read.
Yeah, and you also have to get into a couple of other habits of Twitter. If a friend or even a frenemy makes a post, like it. If a friend or even a frenemy makes a post that you really like it and retweet it. There's an etiquette here. The last thing Twitter needs is another lurker.
I understand the etiquette.
What
Perhaps,
are you saying?
perhaps I just haven't had cause.
My tweets are recognized all over the world as being adorable. And now you're getting a haiku every day.
I do appreciate that. Oh, maybe I'll post the haiku I wrote several years ago.
Could just make another one. They're dirt simple to do.
No,
5 syllables,
I'm
7
particularly
syllables,
proud
5
of
syllables.
this one. I'll post this one because I'm very proud of it.
Oh, God. Well, anyway, that's it. You won't see Deb again until the new year, probably, but you'll see me many times. So there's the Steve Pyramid. And it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's a work of classic. It's a debut novel. It's the follow-up to a runaway bestseller, and it's a work of nonfiction. So that's great. I'm again, like I've said, I'm leaving books alone. I'm still feverishly trying to wrap up 2017, and then once I feel like. Deb's feverishly trying to wrap up all the procrastinating that she's done. She has all sorts of open procrastinations that she needs to get around to finishing. But once I'm done with that, once the new year starts, then I will be going like gangbusters on all these things. The only one of these 4 that will probably break down and do is this the Frankenstein. I'll probably read, if not the whole book, I'll probably read all the critical apparatus, the notes, and especially the introduction, just because I want to get that done ahead of time. Anyway. All right, we're going to go. We're going to go back to pampering Frida. But we'll see you soon. Bye, Book 2.